Posada, slow roller right side. Beckett picks it up, tags Posada, and the Florida Marlins are world champions.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
38 games in, and we are average. We are 500, 19 and 19, but that's what we want. Just keep swimming. That's all we want. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 6 of the Battered Marlins Fans podcast. I am one of your hosts, Daniel Granada. Alongside me, we got 3 other Battered fans, which we're going to introduce in a second. But no, not too many pleasantries. Real quick, when we come and introduce you, we're going to show you what we're rocking on our head. So I am over here rocking another Brooklyn Cyclones hat because, well, you get to know me, and I am a very proud Brooklynite. And let me throw it over to my man, Callie. What are you wearing on your hat, sir?
What up, guys? I'm wearing a hat of the Lenore Ryan Bears. That's where I played college ball. This was my practice hat for a little bit of my freshman year. That's why it's not too dirty. The camera doesn't do it justice, but there's a little pink and dirt rubbed in there. So, yeah, go Bears, man.
And we see we got my man, Bratton.
All right, what's going on, guys? If you follow me on Twitter, you know what this hat is. It's not just a Florida Marlins hat. It is the latest, let me get the right sign. It's the latest collab with the jumbo shrimp here.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
They did a collab.
Marlins, Jacksonville.
Yeah,
jumbo
so it's a little
shrimps.
bit different than the 30th anniversary hat that they have out there because it's not the all teal. Plus, they also did a collab with the current Marlins logo, but in Jacksonville colors, which is pretty dope, and you guys will probably see on a future episode. But go out and support our minor league affiliates and pick one up because they're awesome.
Well, I love the minor leagues. I love the minor leagues hats because they're so themed and they get so creative with them. And not, obviously, I'm working on Brooklyn Cyclones one, but there is a jumbo shrimp one that I saw. Miami Vice theme night.
Yeah.
Into that one.
They got a superhero night one, too. That's pretty dope.
And here we go. My man Spaz. What you rocking, sir?
This was the free giveaway that they
That's the one I missed out on, man. I wanted that one.
That's the one you have to go crackhead mode for?
I had to go crackhead mode for this one. I was offering cash and money and beer and everything. Venmo, anything that anybody would want. But this is the giveaway that is reversible. So on the other side, we got a fun little with the new logo. And then we have the little logo on the other one. So
this is a very spazzy hat, I gotta say.
I fucking love this hat.
It's very on brand.
Yeah, I agree.
So I love this hat, and I'm glad I have it. And yeah, man, bucket hats are the way to go.
You're definitely a bucket hat kind of guy. So we are 19 and 19. We went ahead. We salvaged the series against the Cubs. We took the series against the Diamondbacks. And before we get into the series in detail, I kind of want to know where everybody's thought is as far as where you think, or how do you think our season's gone so far, seeing as how we are literally just 500 and we are, I mean, like I said, average. Callie, what are you thinking so far about the season as a whole?
About what we expected, you know. I mean, we always said just float around 500, and that's exactly what this team's doing. We've officially set a record as of this afternoon for most consecutive one-run wins with 12 to start the year. That stat kind of speaks volumes because of our 19 wins, that means 12 of them are by one run. And then we have 19 losses, and that means we haven't had a loss where we had it within one run. So kind of a good and bad there. It shows that this team has some fight when they're in it. But it also shows that when we're down, it's kind of tough to get back up. So,
Brian, how are you feeling about the season so far?
You know, kind of to piggyback off what Callie's saying, you know, I feel all right about it. We expected to be right here around 500. I do expect us to probably pick up a couple more games this month as the schedule gets a bit easier. The one thing that's a little bit deceptive about those one-run games is a lot of those games were games where we were actually up by multiple runs and blew leads. The last 3, I think, in a row were that way. So, while it's great to win those one-run games, I don't know that it shows that we have a ton of fight. I think it's that we can hold on, with our teeth if we need to grind out a win. But I'm happy overall. We're doing this without Jazz, without some of our starting pitchers. So, happy. I'm optimistic.
And Spaz, my man, how you feeling? Because I see that big smile on your face.
Because they both mentioned fight, and like we're supposed to be the fighting fish, So like I would like to fight back when we have those deficits and when we're down by 3 or 4 runs, and we're just not doing that. So
no, we're not.
I'll take our 500 record all season, like we've been saying. That's where we want to dance around at. But I would like a little bit more fight when we're down 5 or 6 runs or 12, which has been happening. So, I'd like a little bit more of that. But I'm cool where we're at. Super happy that we got the series win today, which was super amazing. And we saw some bombs during this series, and we'll get to that later on.
I think that the new motto for the show should be just keep swimming, right? That whole Dory Finding Nemo. Just keep swimming, right? Yeah. You can forget about the past, the previous.
And it works because we're fish.
Exactly. Like Finding Nemo, fish, Dory, just keep swimming. It all works. And like I said, just keep swimming. We just got to keep it at 500. The goal in my mind, and based strictly off of the Phillies' success last year, is 86 wins. If we can get 86 wins, and we were to miss the wild card, but we get to 86 wins, 5 games over 81. I mean, come on. Like, to me, that would be perfect. So that's what I hope this team achieves. And once you get into the dance, if you get into the dance, anything's possible. As Marlin fans, anything's possible once you get in there. All right, so let's start with the series that just passed, the Cubs series. That was the first series loss of the season that wasn't against a team from the NL East. I think we all understood that it was going to be difficult to keep beating them, especially the way that we kind of beat the Cubs, but they were all really close games when we beat them here in Miami the weekend before. So we knew that the Cubs was going to be a tough time. We're going to have a tough time with the Cubs. But I think that the worst was that second game on Saturday, where the team imploded in that 8th inning. So I guess I'll start with Brandon. What were your takeaways from that Cubs series, or even just that 8th inning over there in game number 2 on Saturday?
Well, so the 8th inning, we can talk about it till we're blue in the face. Like, it was just a total cluster. The defense just went to hell, which is not something that we've really seen a whole lot. We haven't seen,
not to interrupt you, but that was a really a black eye on Peyton Burdick, no?
Yeah, well, I was just about to say, after I sung his praises last week, and then he loses that ball in the sun. But the one thing I'll take out of that as a positive is if you listen to Skip's post-game press conference where he was talking about it and stuff, like, he wasn't making any kind of excuses. He was holding the guys accountable, and like the guys were like, oh, Peyton Burdick, he lost it in the sun and this and that, and Skip wasn't having that. He goes, no, we practice that in spring training. He practices that. He plays day games in the minors. That's no excuse. He shouldn't have dropped it. So I like seeing that. Burdick is still up, so he's still got an opportunity to make up for that. One error doesn't erase, some of the good moments that he's had. But it was really frustrating, especially because that was the bullpen game. Where the pin and everybody who came in did such a good job, and then we get to the 8th, and it's just like, we had it, and then we just let it slip right through our fingers. So that was frustrating. But overall, key takeaway for me for the Cubs series was it was good to see Sandy come back and have a strong outing, even though we almost blew that one too. But yeah.
Well, Brandon, you're not going to get the Sandy question this week, so that's good, right?
Thank God.
But listen, 2 more quality starts, everybody. And
that's what
everybody
I said.
except for me will make a public apology on the show to Sandy.
Well, I think I might have been the only one doubting him, but I'm okay with everybody apologizing. But I think I was the only one doubting him. All right, Callie, takeaway from that Cubs series.
I mean, there was a lot of good. There was a lot of bad. Unfortunately, that was one of the series that was a lot more bad than good, it feels like. It feels like Saturday we had it won. It was kind of that Johnny Holstaff day that everybody was just kind of chuck a little bit, and it was going great. Honestly, it was going great, and then we just had an absolutely monumental defensive collapse. And it wasn't just Burdick losing into the sun. We had a couple plays up the middle that we just botched. Xavier Edwards made a couple errors. Hampson made an error. I think Segura threw one away too. And it's just, unfortunately, that you can't defend. The two things in baseball you can't defend against are errors and walks. There's nothing you can do to help yourself there. So that's frustrating. But and it kind of capped off a bad week. I think before that game, we were on a 5 or 6 game losing streak or something like
Braves.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got swept from by the Braves. And then we were that kind of capped off that 5 game losing streak, and then to bounce back that Sunday, Sandy shoved. He had a true Sandy performance, which is what we've needed. And we hit, but again, we kind of saved ourselves at the end, and despite us almost blowing it. And it's just, unfortunately, this is very much a bend but don't break type of team right now, which is fine considering what our aspirations are. But, at least we ended up on a high note, and I think that showed itself in this series now against Arizona.
We played against Justin Steele in game 1.
Yes.
And it feels like every time we go out against a left-hander, Jazz isn't going to do anything. And Arise has also had some difficulties. Is this going to be a constant issue throughout the year?
Well, the issue with us is that we don't have, lefty-wise, the thing is our righties hit lefties pretty well, but our lefties just aren't great. Like, Jazz is just terrible against lefties.
And Arise isn't that great either.
Yeah, but Arise can do whatever the hell he wants. He's hitting like 417 or whatever he's hitting right now. Like, he can have a couple bad days against lefty. That's okay.
Part of the problem against lefties is that, like, we brought in Segura because he's traditionally hit lefties really well, because last year we couldn't hit lefties, so we went out and got a guy who hits lefties, and Segura starts off the year in a slump. So I think looking just at Jazz and Arise to kind of hit against lefties is probably a bit unfair, because Jazz really hasn't done that super well in his career. But I think
no, not at all. And you know what? And I might have been a little hard on Arise because he's batting 367 against lefties.
Yeah, but he's batting 400, so that's disappointing. You should be batting 400 against
lefties. The other lefty that's hitting bad against lefties too is Jesus Sanchez. That he's definitely been hitting a little better, but he's particularly terrible against lefties too.
Well, listen, he's doing well for us. Just leave that bad juju back there, bro. Come on,
against righties, I want the guy in the lineup, but against lefties, one of us will do just as good.
I will tell you, since I brought up Jazz, anybody want to gander at what his batting average against lefties is this year?
I'm gonna say under a buck 30. I'm gonna say under a buck 30.
A buck 30, 178. Brandon?
I'll go in between 150.
0.97. 0.097. 0.01.
If we're putting the prices right,
that was all you. That's it.
I'm taking home a washer and dryer set or something.
Yeah. So definitely has his issues against lefties. At that point, just take him out of the lineup. Don't even put him at 6th. All right, so Club Series, first loss, but Sandy looked like he was back. El Caballo, as Spaz likes to call him. How are we feeling about Sandy? Spaz?
Dude, I liked seeing him go deep and all that. I like seeing what happened on that day, but it sucks that it was a hard-fought win when it should have just been an easy win. And I'll just go and say this about the whole. I'm just happy that we fucking didn't get swept that series, because a lot of things could have gone our way and they just didn't, and they were on our hands. So I'll take that W. It just sucks that it went as deep as it had to go. So I
feel like at those Sunday games when we've had a chance to get that series sweep, a lot of times we've had Sandy and Luzardo on the mound, and we're like, okay, we're gonna get the sweep because we got our aces on the mound. And this is the first time that they come through on a Sunday, and it was to save us from getting swept. So I'll take it, but I'm glad that he's finally coming through, and especially that he went so deep in the game, because our bullpen has been one of the best in the league. But at some point, we need to give him a breather. So we need Sandy to come alive. We need Luzardo to come alive, because it's only so much we can count on our bullpen, and we're wearing them out. So definitely. So we're moving on. We lost the first one to the Diamondbacks, but we bounced back and we took the following two. One of this today. We're recording at nighttime on Wednesday. So I'll start with Cali this time. Cali, what did you take away from this series against the Diamondbacks?
So thankfully, I didn't watch the first one. 9:40 p.m. start time on a Monday when you're a teacher is just a hard no go.
It was your boy Braxton starting though.
It was my boy. He he kind of had his second not great start in a row, but that's the nature of the beast. He's a young guy. I'm still all Braxton all the way. I'd say he's the third best pitcher in our staff right now. He's probably been the best consistently throughout the year, so I'm not getting off. But we saw the solar power and lighting show yesterday, hitting 2 bombs over 430 feet. The first one being just a fucking moonshot into the concourse and left center there. It's always fun when we have one of those games all right, we're winning this one. It's not it was nice to have one that we didn't have to sweat it out and be like, oh man, are we gonna blow this thing? Or are we gonna screw this up somehow? And then today, it was a little more scrappy, man, but we found a way. We had, Edward Cabrera had an okay start, but man, he just fell apart after he got a bit of run support, and thankfully today was one of those days that we decided to hit. But I think the biggest question mark right now on this team is probably Edward Cabrera, because we just don't know what we're getting every time he goes out.
And you know what? We might as well jump into that before we keep talking about the Diamondbacks. Edwin Cabrera, at this point, am I the only one that sees him as a long reliever instead of a starter? Because I think that he might get, once everybody gets healthy, and I don't want to see Cueto, but I think that Cueto gets put back into the rotation once he's healthy. I think Edwin Cabrera might be the one that kind of loses his spot. Brandon, what do you think?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that because – Cabrera, those first 3 innings was I think I text you guys. I'm like, he is rolling. This is looking good. And then he got into that 4th inning and he just couldn't hit the strike zone. And so, I kind of went back and I looked at it a little more and I still don't understand why he was so reliant on that breaking ball when it wasn't hitting the strike zone in the 4th. So he might be better served in the pen. I think at this point, with the performances that we've seen and with, we'll get into Yuri coming up too. But with the performances we've seen with, guys like Trevor Rogers getting healthy, he started his long throwing, I think yesterday or today, and he'll go out on rehab. Cueto, I don't think Cueto's going to be back anytime soon, especially after he got roughed up in his rehab start in Jacksonville. So that might save Edward for another week or two and give him a chance to figure it out. But if he doesn't figure it out, I think Cueto, because he's I think he's the 5th highest paid player on the roster right now. So he's going to come back into the rotation. And if you have Trevor Rogers and Yuri up here, Edwards either got to go down to AAA or he's got to go to the bullpen. And I think when he's on, he has a major league arm, but I don't think he can be on for 8 innings or 6 innings. I think maybe coming out and doing 2 or 3 innings out of the pen is going to be good for him.
So I don't think Yuri's going to be a long-term. I don't think he's going to be up full-time. I think he's only up until Trevor Rogers comes back, and then he's going right back down. Because at the end of the day, he's 20 years old. He doesn't need to be pitching in the bigs all as much. It's a cool experience for him now. We're down a couple arms. And the back end, and again, Cabrera's struggling. But the issue with Cabrera is that when your only job is to not give guys free bases and you are exceptionally good at putting guys on base for free, that's not a good thing, man. I don't know what the answer is for him. I'm even a little hesitant to call him a reliever right now. I think he still keeps getting starts just because of lack of options for now. But we'll see. I think there's going to have to be a tough discussion on him, and probably the closer we get to the All-Star break to kind of see where we're at. But I don't think he's going anywhere this very second. But Yuri Perez, I think we'll see him forget. I genuinely think we see him get 2 starts, and then he's going back down to Jacksonville.
Spaz, if I were to tell you that Edward Cabrera is leading the National League in a category. What do you think he's leading the league in?
Walks, probably, right?
Walks.
Strikeouts.
He is leading the league. No, he's leading the league in walks.
Yeah.
The National League, that is. He has the most walks, but he is 8th in strikeouts. So feast or famine with him. I mean, I don't have the analytics behind me, but I would assume that the majority of those strikeouts were the first 2 times around the lineup, and then that third time
he never gets past the 5th or 6th.
Okay, but
Yeah.
but going back to what Branson was kind of saying is that like he texted today after what the 2nd or 3rd inning, like, yo, this dude is doing it. Like he's
yeah.
All right. I have
He
no
got
problem.
through 3 with like 33 pitches and already had like 5 or 6 strikeouts. Like,
And then
and didn't walk anybody.
And then the 4th or 5th, he had like what 30 pitches, like or something like that, like something weird like that. So
Yeah.
listen, I'm all for putting him in the bullpen, even if he wants to or doesn't want to. But somebody who would come in and fucking give us
What he wants doesn't matter.
What's that?
Yeah.
So what he wants doesn't matter, unfortunately,
Well, all
for
right.
him.
But if we have a guy of guys that are going 5 innings, 6 innings, like the other day, Luzardo went 5 and 107 pitches. That's not great. Bring fucking this guy in, give us 2 or 3 good innings, and then bring in Puck or whoever the fuck.
Well,
Yeah,
not
I
just
mean-
what- Go ahead,
Puck
Brian.
or whoever the fuck is a great name for a bullpen.
Yeah, Puck. Exactly.
No,
Let's
I
find a
just-
Korean with the last name.
I was just gonna say, to kind of round out the Edward Cabrera talk, he's got a little bit more of a leash. Like, I don't see him going anywhere before at the very earliest, like June, middle of June.
Yeah.
Because
Maybe.
we're just not gonna have
he's
the
not
arms
going.
ready,
He's not.
I mean, all-star break, if Max Meyer comes back, he's looking good, then maybe there's some movement for him, but probably not.
Yeah, apparently Max Meyer's probably donezo for the year from what I'm reading. So
Oh,
And I
I
heard
didn't
know that.
six though could only come back maybe earliest August or September.
Wow. Just in time for our playoff push.
There
That
you
guy's-
go. That's it.
September call-ups.
That's it. 40-man roster. All right, so now we're back onto the Diamondbacks. Bratton, what did you take away from this Diamondback series?
I was glad to see our bats come alive this series. I also think Jazz looked a little bit better, especially last night, more so than today. I think he's making some adjustments. They kind of talked about it on the broadcast today. But overall, I think the Diamondback series was really good. I think we had an opportunity to take that first game. We just didn't capitalize on some of the base runners that we had on play. But I think overall it was a good series. I'm taking a lot of positives out of it. Jesus Sanchez waking up. Solar carried us this series. I mean, if it wasn't for him, like we're we're in big trouble there. But it was good to see Puck bounce back from his outing and get a save today. And so, I'm happy. I'm happy with the Diamondback series. I think had we won that Saturday game or whatever against the Cubs and come out of this series, both series with 4 wins, I think I'd feel a lot better. But Diamondbacks was a good series for me, in my opinion.
I think one of the positives that came out of this weekend was Segura finally getting benched. And I know he's missed 4 games all year. I haven't been able to find what the other 2 were. But as far as this week, we were 2-0 without him.
So I wasn't going to call him out today because, again, I don't know if you saw he did a post-game press conference and he took full accountability for his slump and really, went out of his way to take accountability. And I respect that. So I was going to give him a break this week and calling for his permanent benching. But, especially with Wendell coming back hot, I think Skip's got some problems.
The only person playing worse than Segura is Stallings.
yeah, but
catcher's a
not
problem
catcher.
for us. But
I think Forte. I love Forte personally behind the dish. Love Forte. Stallings. Stallings is a steady start. He shouldn't start any other games, but Forte's my guy. I'm a big Forte guy.
Yeah, I think we need to go out at the All-Star or at the trade deadline and get a new catcher.
They won't.
I think they're both.
They won't spend on a catcher.
We'll see.
On a time we had the best catcher in baseball, but
Yeah, 20 years ago.
No, we gave him to the Phillies like 2 years ago.
Yeah, not
Oh,
Pudge.
JT.
JT.
Yeah. Fun fact: JT Realmuto went into college as a shortstop.
Did he?
Yeah.
The guy's just a stud, just put him anywhere.
Starting catcher in Pensacola, who caught Yuri's game the other day, started out as a shortstop and as a catcher now.
So
he's not as good, but
hey, look, eventually those trades have to pay off. I wasn't aware that Zach Gallen trade, when they received Zach Gallen, was it? Yes, they received Zach Gallen and they got Sandy. They got both of them in one trade for Osuna.
In St. Louis, yeah.
You got both of those studs in one trade for Osuna? Like, those things have to pay off. Now, they went ahead and traded Gallen for Jazz, but still, that's like those trades eventually have to pay off. You just can't keep trading these pieces off because look at those prospects that you're getting back. Look at them now as major leaguers. It's wild if you could actually hold on to them and grow. All right, so Luzardo did play, and much like Sandy, looks like he's finally coming back. So Spaz, how was it watching Luzardo back and looking like his old self? Hopefully,
he's gonna be fine, man. I mean, the last time we saw him, not very fun. But I think all of us, everyone, even the animals on Marlins Twitter, everyone loves Luzardo. Luzardo's the man.
He also gets a local love because he's from out here.
Yeah, but he does absolutely. But dude, he's been such a joy to watch, and even on those tough games that he's had, I mean, it's you just have to give him what did Brandon say? Give him a little bit of a leash, long leash on that. He's gonna be fine, dude, and he's learning. He's learned a lot in the past couple of years, so he's gonna be fine. I'm totally excited with what's to come with him. So very, very nice to see that outing from him.
What about you, Brandon? Finally, Luzardo's back. We got our aces back.
Yeah. God, I hope so. But it looks like it. It looks like he's back. I was glad to see him go at least 6. I'd like to, it's kind of the same thing with the rest of the pitching staff. I'd like them to be a little more efficient with their throws. I'd like Luzardo kind of needs to get to the 7th or 8th for me to say he's fully back. Because 104 pitches in 6 innings isn't great. But he pitched well enough to have us win the game. The bullpen in the Diamondback series wasn't nearly as taxed as they were in the Cubs series, and they have a day off tomorrow. So, all in all, good things. And just glad to see a quality outing from our 2 top starters.
I think it's important to note. I'm sorry, Spaz.
No, go.
I was going to say, I think it's important to note also that no team in baseball is going to the pen statistically quicker than the Marlins. Like, we have starters consistently coming out in the 4th and the 5th or whatever, crazy. So, and I know the games change because guys aren't really throwing complete games anymore. Guys aren't even going 8 anymore, But if you can get a 6 2/3 or 7, that's gets into the 7th inning at least. I think that helps tremendously, But when we keep relying on our bullpen to throw 2, and if you add it up in terms of a week, 10, 12, 15 extra innings a week, bad shit's gonna happen. And eventually you're gonna start to get hit because relievers in the bigs now, they're all type of niche guys. They either throw really hard or they have a good cutter, they have a good slider, whatever. They live and die by that. So
one thing that I was just gonna mention real quick, I'm sorry to just
no, go for it.
I was watching the Cubs series a bit, and they were mentioning, and I think all those were day games, right? Those were all like 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock.
They're all 2:20 starts.
Yeah. Yep. So whatever. And those
is there a reason why they do that?
The Cubs historically don't like playing.
Yes.
Don't like playing night games. They were the last. They were the last team to get lights. To get lights, and they only got the lights because they threatened to force them to relocate many years ago.
Yeah. So it's a thing. So historically, they like playing baseball games during the day, but those games were fucking packed. Like, I was watching and then it's like somebody posted the attendance of like a Cubs game one of the days, and I was like, holy shit, that is like twice what the Marlins get on a really, really good sandy day. So I wonder if that just kind of bit into our series there. Like if it was just like the home cooking or something. I'm not sure what happened, but dude, there was a lot of fucking Cubs fans there. I mean, and we went to a couple of games here. There was a lot of Cubs fans here, but we ended up taking that. But I don't know if being at Wrigley fucked us up a little bit. But that's up to you guys to kind of.
It is historically a tough place to play because one, the wind, and two, the sun.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but
Peyton.
Yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, like you're pros, like you know what the deal is. You're not surprised. You can't be surprised by this. Like you know what Wrigley is. You know what the expectations are. You even saw, I don't know if you guys were watching it on the during the broadcast, that John Jay was, obviously John Jay being a guy that was in the bigs for a long time. Skip, a guy that was in the bigs for a long time. Mabry, a guy that was in the bigs a long time. We're all out there working with the outfielders saying like, hey guys, like this is how you have to play the field because this is what happens. This is what you need to do. And at the end of the day, sun's not an excuse. At the end of the day, wind's not an excuse because everybody's got to play in it. So you got to figure it the fuck out.
Callie, I wanted you to ask you, what do you think about Mr. Solar Power?
My guy. El Cubano,
I know,
my boy.
Yeah.
I'm a huge, everyone knows, if you don't know by now, I guess you're about to find out, I'm a huge Solar guy. Love it. He just speaks to like kind of that old school, just power hitter. Like, yeah, I might hit 230, but I'm going to drop, 35 on a year on you.
Can I tell you his numbers real quick?
I'd adore it if you did.
He's on pace to hit 38 home runs, 85 RBIs, on pace. And over the last 3 series, which is 9 games, 4 home runs, 10 RBIs, OPS 930.
Inject that into my veins.
Inject
that directly. I want to cook that over a spoon, put it in a syringe.
There you go.
But no, man, Solar. I mean, he's a strikeout guy. That's just the nature of the beast. He's gonna strike out a lot, but he goes down swinging. Like today, I was genuinely shocked that he struck out on a fastball. Like strike out looking on a fastball. It was a little low in the zone, but it was a borderline pitch that professional hitters should at least try and foul off or stay alive or swing at. But man, when dude connects, he hits the ball when he makes contact. He hits the ball hard every single time. I don't have his numbers in front of me. Actually, I actually do have a tab for that. I'm sure his slugging is very his slugging's 508, which is second highest on the team behind Jesus Sanchez,
which we're gonna get into in a second. And Solar over the last 3 series, because I have those numbers in front of me, his slugging 622.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. The guy's just hitting. That just means he's hitting baseballs hard, which is what you want to do. I love Solar. I want that guy in the lineup every night because when Solar Power and lighting shows up, baby, it's a light show.
Let me tell you something. I still think he should be protecting Jazz in the lineup, and Jazz should be batting third. But we'll get into that in a second.
He was today, didn't he? Bat second.
He did bat second today.
Yeah.
So
he protected Jazz.
Yeah, but Jazz was still leading off. Come on. Let's see what you did there.
He's not protecting in the way you want it, but he's protecting him.
Yeah, I got you. All right. Well, Bratton, Gene Segura has been on fire. He doesn't have Peyton Burdick's issues with the sun. You can literally blindfold the man, and he's hitting it. I'm telling you, he is on fuego. What are we saying about Gian Segura?
Segura, man. Segura's not on fire.
Oh, not Segura. Sanchez. Oh, wow. You're right.
Yeah.
Look at
Segura's not on fire. I thought we were going to, I said I was going to give the guy a break, and then you put a whole segment devoted to him.
Look at that. I felt bad for the guy, obviously, for me to throw that out there. Sanchez. Yeah, man, he's come alive. That trip out west really did him some good. They were talking about it on the broadcast today. They just, he's been pushing really hard to try and break out of his slump, and he seems to be doing that. Little concerned, Skip said after today's game, when he did come out after he hit that double, Skip said that he'd probably be all right and expect to see him Friday. It was more a cramping issue than a hamstring issue, apparently. So, hopefully we avoid the injury bug there. But, we talked about it to start
the beginning of the season, you know, if we're going to be successful, we need guys like Sanchez, Avi when he comes back, Segura, Solar. We need those guys to really step up and start adding a little more threat to the lineup. So it's good to start seeing that, you know, you don't just have to worry about Jazz. You don't just have to worry about Arise. Like, there's other guys stepping up right now. And I think, you know, this series against the Reds, I think will be, if Sanchez is good to go, I think he'll continue his hot streak. But I think we'll also start seeing like Jazz wake up. I think this will be a rebound series for Jazz. But, you know, every time you look at the dugout, they were showing it today. You see Jazz and Jesus sitting next to each other, trying to pick each other's brains about what they're seeing on the tablet and stuff like that. And I love seeing that. And I just think, you know, Jesus is putting in the work. So we're starting to see it pay off. And I think it's going to keep paying off.
Do we lead the league in names with J's?
We have to.
Because, Jesus, George Soler, Jesus Sanchez, we got Joey Wendell, Jazz, John Birdie, Gene
Jacob
Segura.
Stallings.
Jesus. All right. So, no, I'll take the L on that mistake. But, Jesus, I started looking. I was like, Jesus, so many J's. All right, Jesus Sanchez, let me tell you real quick, give you some numbers. The last 3 series, he's batting .417, slugging .917, OPS of 1.334. The man is on fuego. So I hope you're right. I hope Jazz is picking his brain because Jazz needs something to wake him up.
Yeah, he currently has the second highest batting average on the team. He's hitting .297 on the year. He's hitting .294, on base percentage of .368, slugging .555, .559, OPS of .927, the best OPS on the team, even better than our very own
Arise.
Arise.
No, Arise.
Yeah, he has slightly less than Arise. Sorry, and Arise is .945. But he's swing against righties. That dude's pretty damn good, man. He's a guy that, and it's encouraging to see because he's a guy that a lot of people weren't high on coming into the season. He definitely struggled as the season opened up, but he's really found his form and he's seeing righties really well. He's another guy that seems to make hard contact every time he connects, which is always encouraging. You know, best and that's great because you know what it does is it makes Skip's job a little harder when Avi comes back. So that's what we need. I
mean, John Birdie has been probably having the best as far as hitting average over the last, outside of Sanchez. He's been playing great, but Wendell's back. And Spaz, you said there's a chance that Wendell doesn't see the field, but he came back and he's seen the field. What do you think about Wendell getting some playing time? Because not looking great so far.
I want to touch one back.
Go for it. Yes, go ahead.
So I had mentioned a couple episodes ago a tweet from Tommy Hutton from last season where Tommy Hutton even said he's swinging at his ass and you're never going to hit the ball swinging out of your ass. And I feel like he's made adjustments and now he's kind of like doing what he needs to do. But I wish next episode, I think we should pull that tweet up from Tommy Hutton because it's fucking amazing. But I'm glad to see him doing what he needs to do. And listen, people are praising him, and you know we're seeing the progress. So I'm really into it. But back to Joey No Gloves, fucking love the guy. He's coming back, and I didn't think he was gonna earn a spot. I didn't think he was gonna, you know, even Cali was the one that was like, no, he's gonna have to fight for his spot. But he's here. We've been seeing him a couple days in a row. So,
granted, he's also benefited from Cooper being hurt. Gurriel had an issue too. Right. We saw Arise having to play first, which benefited from that. But man, but when he's come in, he got a hit today. Yeah. You know, and what I appreciate, which is something he wasn't doing before he got hurt, and it wasn't something he wasn't doing a lot in spring training because he was very poor in spring training. He's seeing the ball in the air a lot. You know, he you know, I don't know what happened in Jacksonville, or maybe he puckered up because like, man, I'm about to be out of a job here in a minute. And he's had great at-bats. I'll give it to him. He's had fantastic at-bats. I'm really happy with Joey Wendell and the little sample size that we've gotten from him so far.
Let's keep it going.
And that's move Birdie to third, which is what we all said we kind of wanted, right? We figured that Birdie moved to third, Wendell gets spot back at shortstop, and then second base. Well, I mean, with Arias having to fill in while Cooper's out at first base today, then we found the space for Hampson, and I think everybody's relatively okay with this. When Cooper comes back, we want to see Cooper at first, Arias back at second. You have Wendell at shortstop. We have Birdie at third. That's kind of the infield you kind of want to see. Hampson's left kind of out, but I mean, with Soler and Sanchez in the corners, or Soler playing DH, and then De La Cruz over there at left, Jazz in center. Like, I think that the team's finally starting to take shape once everybody's healthy, and I'm okay with what we're seeing so far. Now, Bratton, you surprised that Wendell got back onto the field?
A little bit, but again, I think just like the guy said, he's really benefited from, a couple of guys having knocks, Coop and Yuli needed a day off today, and so that gives him another opportunity. And Segura's slump really opens that door, and kind of Wendell coming back comes at a good time for us. I mean, I think what was his first at bat back? He had a triple, right? So that was encouraging, especially in Jacksonville. He did not have a good rehab assignment. Like, he struck out. It was
he
a
didn't
lot.
have a good spring training either. Like, he's had just a rough year from spring training on.
Yeah, so I wasn't really thinking he would come back in, but Skip saw something in the guy and gave him a couple opportunities, and I think he's done enough to be in the conversation every day. I think Birdie moving over to third base and giving Wendell his spot at shortstop for now, I think that's a great move. Yuli can still fill in at first base till Coop comes back, but I think Coop, I don't know. I thought I saw somewhere that he might be back for the Red series at some point, and possibly even Friday.
I'd love to hear that, because we started that losing streak against the Braves once Cooper went down. We've been playing pretty poorly since he gone.
Yeah, I think he's due to come off the IL on Friday, so I'm sure we'll see a bunch of moves happening either tomorrow or Friday related to bringing up Yuri and Coop activated and things like that.
All right. Well, now I'm going to bring up everybody's favorite topic this week, because it's gotten a lot of traction. And that is our MLB The Show cover athlete, my main man, Jazz. Jazz is in a funk. He is in a very big funk. Now, I understand. I understand that we are slightly over a month in, but I think that just about 40 games into the season, which is a quarter of the season, I think that's a pretty decent sample size to start to worry. So I'll start with Brandon. Brandon, are we starting to worry about Jazz? Because I am. I'll let you know right off the bat. I'm starting to worry.
So, yeah, I mean, anytime one of your best hitters comes out in a little bit of a slump, yeah, you're concerned. I'm not in full-blown panic mode. Jazz has kind of made some changes in the offseason. Like, we're seeing him be more patient in the box, and like, he's taking pitches that he definitely shouldn't be taking, but he's leaving that bat on his shoulder a little bit more than he did last year, and I think that's why we're seeing more strikeouts, because I don't know that he really reads pitches well. Like, I don't know that he's not great on those like close to the zone pitches that's like some batters are, where they know when to take, when to hit. And I think Skip's just got to tell Jazz, like, go back to doing what you were doing and just let it rip. Jazz was just very aggressive in the box last year, swinging at just about everything, and it worked for him, right? We can all say he had a great year last year when he was healthy, but him being a little bit more patient,
putting him in the MVP conversation last year at one point.
Yeah,
before he got injured.
Yeah, and I think him leaving that bat on the shoulder, I don't know what that adjustment is, but it to me that's what it seems like, is he's holding back. And maybe that's a conversation Skip had with him about being less aggressive and trying to draw more walks, which we've seen him draw walks, but it's been more pitching around than like being patient. But maybe that's something they're working on. But that's just my
Guys, you worried?
No, but I think it's a kind of the tweaking of the lineup, like, because I think he has. I'm sorry, I didn't really watch a lot of games. I've been trying to watch the highlights, but I don't think he's been hitting leadoff, right? like for this series?
I think he was in the 6 hole until today.
Okay, yeah. So that's what I think I saw, and I think his confidence is just much higher when he's in leadoff. And I know when he was batting like fourth, I think he was doing well. And again, I don't know. This is just things that maybe Skip is just trying to tinker with the fucking lineup and see what's going on. But I think his confidence is the highest when he's leadoff. And dude, if that's working, then do it. But if I would like to see the numbers, him leadoff and him otherwise, and see where that goes, because I think there's something there.
Jazz, he was in the 6 hole the first 2 games against the Cubs, against 2 lefties, and then the last 4 games he let off.
Oh, okay. So he's
Callie, you worried?
No, I know I'm the resident Jazz apologist in the group, and that's fine. My point's actually kind of contrary to what Brand was saying. Yeah, he's striking out a lot, but he's third on the team in walks. I still think he's having competitive at bats. It's not like he's looking ugly at the plate. But we kind of knew he was going to strike out a lot. Like that wasn't a secret. Like we knew we talked about it at the beginning of the season. He's going to lead the team in strikeouts, but he's also probably going to be, excuse me. I mean, unless Soler continues what he's doing, second on the team in home runs, he has far and away the most stolen bases. There is not a close second. He has 13, and Birdie has 6. When he's on the base paths, he's absolutely lethal. Now it's just the issue of getting him on base. I've kind of been back and forth as to whether he should still continue to lead off. And I think my answer is still yes, only because I still want our better hitters seeing more at bats. And I still think he's one of the better hitters on our team, despite the numbers maybe not reflecting that right now. But I think once we see the sample size of a whole season, I think the season ends with Jazz being one of our better hitters. So I'm not worried yet. Again, yeah, he has 50 strikeouts on the year so far, and we're in the beginning of May, which is definitely concerning. But I have to believe that he'll turn it around.
He's second in the league in strikeouts, and not in the National League. That is not the majors. And in National League, he's second in the league in strikeouts. Were you gonna say something, Brian?
Yeah. So the strikeouts to me is a bit concerning this year. When you look at last year, through 60 games that he played, he struck out 66 times. So there's definitely something that's changed between last season to this season to increase that strikeout rate, which is why I think he's just being. I don't think he's being as aggressive, which doesn't make sense. Like, you're not being aggressive, or if you're being aggressive, you should have more strikeouts. But I think he just needs to let that bat swing.
I think with him, I think the pressure's definitely on, because from a baseball perspective, like league wide, he's the face of the Marlins.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was a cover athlete.
He's the face of MLB.
Yeah. If you really want to look at it in terms of video games and stuff. But I think that has to have something to do with it. But something I've noticed is Jazz's attitude is awesome. He's never like pouty. His body language is always good. He's always hustling. And again, he's taking good at bats. So that's why I'm not concerned. Like the I guess the intangibles of it. I'm not worried because he's not throwing a little bitch fit. He's not throwing his helmet when he strikes out or slamming his bat or getting upset. Yeah, he talks, but that's just kind of the kind of person he is. He's going to run his mouth a little bit, and we all love that about him. But yeah, I'm not concerned. If he was having bad at bats and his shoulders were down, his head was down, he's throwing little fits, he's throwing his helmet, he's throwing his bat, I'd be like, yeah, okay, maybe Jazz is in some hot water. But yeah, I'm not too concerned yet.
Well, his average isn't too far off. He's batting 227 so far this year. Last year he was 254.
221.
Before he was 248. So
that's right on the Mendoza line right there.
Yeah. So he's, really not doing too bad.
Jazz, he's been on base 36 times. He has 13 stolen bases in those 36 times he's been on base. It's not bad. It's almost 40% of the time he's gotten a stolen base. So obviously, once he gets on base, he's productive. The problem is getting on base. We were having this conversation not too long ago. I still think he should bat third. I'm going to say that until it finally happens. But I know a lot of people disagree. I haven't heard anybody that agrees with me. but I think that he should be
You're
batting
wrong.
third. And I'm usually am, but I am going to break down the numbers because Cali had the question as he would like to see the splits, right? His numbers leading off. So I'll start off with when he's batting sixth in the lineup. He has an average of 111, on base percentage of 200. He's hit one home run. He has 3 RBIs, 4 Ks, and 18 at bats. So he's striking out 22% of the time. Okay, that's in 6 games. Cleanup when beginning of the season, those 4 games that he played cleanup, he was batting 182 on base percentage, 217, 1 home run, 1 RBIs, 9 Ks and 22 at bats. 41% of the time he struck out. So obviously cleanup didn't work. Now let's go to when he's leading off. He's led off 24 games, average of 255, on base percentage of 304, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, 6 walks, 35 Ks and 90 at bats. About 37% of the time he's striking out. Obviously, he's batting much better as a leadoff, but those numbers could be those numbers could be a little deceiving because usually when he's batting sixth, it's because he's facing a lefty, and we already went over his numbers against lefties, so that does kind of mess with the numbers a little bit. But when he leads off, he's not playing as bad as I thought. I would still like to see him in the third hole with Soler protecting him behind him. Look, if you could sandwich him between Cooper and Soler and have Arise leading off, that to me is the dream right there. I'll tell you right now, leading off, Arise, second Cooper, third Jazz, fourth Soler, fifth Sanchez. To me, that should be the first 5. And I'm gonna stick with it.
I
hate it.
I do hate it. I'm just gonna say it. Again, if we're gonna come, we can't simultaneously say that he's gonna lead the team in strikeouts and then want him up to bat in the most likely scenario where guys are gonna be on base. That's just.
But he's not gonna strike out as much because they're gonna be throwing in the zone. That's my whole thing is I think they're gonna throw more in the zone because they're not gonna walk him when there's a man on second, and when they know that Soler's coming up to bat.
They're still going to pitch them the same way they would pitch them.
No, they're not, man. No, pitching changes when you know that you have somebody.
I don't think
obviously Soler is not Barry Bonds. Okay, so please don't take this analogy, just like that. But if you know Barry Bonds is up to bat next, you're not walking the guy in front of him.
Yeah, but the thing is that goes out the window because you have a guy that just strikes out a lot. He swings and misses a lot. He has a high whiff rate, and he has since we've seen him in the bigs. It's not a new problem
because you don't care if you accidentally walk him because that's it. He's on base, but there's nobody else on base.
Okay,
yeah, but I think like today you saw Soler behind Jazz, and like I think. Having a Rise behind him gives you some sort of protection as well. Like I think there's other ways to protect him than moving him to third.
Yeah, and the thing is, okay, so
what about second? Give me second.
So
then you need an alternative to lead off, and I don't know that we have that.
Off. So if we make a lineup tonight with Jazz and Soler hitting back to back, that's 90 strikeouts. 90 because Jazz has 50, but Soler has 40. That's 90 strikeouts. That's a lot.
I am going to next game. You know how I found these splits? Next time, I'm going to find what the numbers are with men on base. Because I bet you with men on base, Jazz's percentage is better because he doesn't strike out as much because they don't give him pitches outside the zone as much.
You know what also might be interesting to do, and maybe I'll do this, is look at with the lineup changes, see how his batting average changes depending on who's behind him. Because I would venture to say that with a Rise in the 2-hole, I think his average is going to be a lot better than having somebody else who's not as big a threat to get on base every time. Like a Rise is going to get on base. We're seeing it 40% of the time, where Soler, Sanchez is too. Yeah, but. I would rather have Jazz lead off because you're getting somebody speedy on base. Like Arise, I love the guy. He's doing a great job, but he's hitting singles. He's hitting mostly singles. So if he hits a single with Jazz on first, Jazz has a chance to come home and score.
This is going to be the never-ending debate, and we'll continue this.
It will be.
We'll continue this next week until he gets moved to third.
Because I'm right, but
Oh God,
statistically, I'm right. Let's keep it going.
Don't worry. Look, I love numbers. I'll figure out the way to make the numbers look better for me. All right, so we have the series against the Reds coming up, but I guess we can't really talk about it without bringing up the news that we got earlier today. Yuri Perez is going to make his debut on Friday. I have tickets for Saturday's game, and I am regretting it because I really wish I could be there on Friday instead. I'm going to see if I could finagle that into this. But how are we feeling about Yuri Perez? Like I told you, I was a little worried about it because of the sticky ball that they're playing with in AA. I wasn't sure how that's going to translate to the majors when he doesn't have that anymore. But they know better than I do. They feel like he's ready, and I'm all for it. Let's see what he's got. Callie, how did you feel when you heard the news?
Little shocked. I thought it was a little soon, but these guys get paid a lot of money to make decisions. It's exciting. His numbers this year in AA are just stupid. 2.32 ERA, 31 innings pitched. He's only given up 16 hits, 8 earned runs, only 9 walks to 42 strikeouts. He's faced 117 batters. That's ridiculous. His walks per 9 innings is only 2.6, 12.2 strikeouts per 9. I mean, his numbers are ridiculous. And him being the youngest player in AA, that's amazing. So right now his average age difference is, he's on average 4.3 years younger than anyone else in AA. So he's competing against guys older than him. I think I understand why they're doing it because it's one of those all right, we got the Reds and the Nationals. You're not going to be facing two teams that can particularly stroke, and we have some guys that are injured. I think it's potentially two teams that he can pitch against and do well. And then again, like I mentioned earlier in the show, I think he'll get 2 starts, and then we're going to see him go back down as soon as Rogers is ready to come back up, which I think is the right thing to do. But it's really exciting. The call-up video was awesome that they did with Sandy.
It was.
That got me pumped up. It's really, really easy to get excited about Yuri. Him and Sandy kind of have a mentorship thing kind of going on. So best case scenario, maybe next year or 2 years from now, we have a 1-2-3 punch of Sandy, Yuri, and Luzardo, which is really exciting to think about.
Spaz, you got the news. How are you feeling?
Listen, it's very, very difficult. I've been on Marlins Twitter for many, many years. It's very difficult for everyone to agree on one fucking thing, and everyone is absolutely stoked about this. So I am very, very excited. I'm gonna try to make it out there on Friday. I should probably be there. I mean, I got tickets, so I'll be there. But man, it's gonna be so exciting. I think there's gonna be some electricity in the park about Yuri. So
how appropriate that he's making his debut for the Marlins in those pinstripes. How awesome is that?
It's meant to be.
Yeah. That's actually what Caddy said.
Back.
I think that's gonna add to the electricity. And everyone's super pumped about it. I'm super pumped about it. I'm going to be there. Brenton and I will have some beers. And Callie, you're going, right?
I'm going, but I can't drink yet. So I'll have some high quality H2O with some lemonade.
Son of a mother! All of you guys are going? Oh damn!
Yeah, we were all discussing this.
I'm close. I'm working the wife down.
Brand's 75% of the way there, but he's also
beers.
Listen, it takes me an hour and a half to get to the stadium, so that's where the problem is.
Drive pink, but that's for
I do.
Mother's Day weekend.
I'll buy you a bourbon.
Well, that's the other part.
It's Mother's Day weekend. It's kind of tough to get 2 games out of this weekend.
I'm working on.
All right. So, Brenton, so you want to be there because you're also excited?
Yeah, of course. I mean, Yuri is probably.
That's an easy question. I don't even want to ask you if you're excited. I know you're excited. How do you think he's going to do? Give me a prediction for how Friday's going to go.
So it can go one of 2 ways. I think the adrenaline's going to take him. I think he's going to do really well. That's my prediction for the Reds game. If he pitches past that, I think You know, kind of to Callie's point, I was pretty surprised that they decided to call him now. If you look at his AA numbers, like they're really good. Like there's no doubt about it. But you know, one of the things that's kind of like a couple of the batters have had some success on him with is they sit on that first pitch fastball. Like if you watched his game on Sunday, he gave up first pitch of the game, he gave up a home run. And it's because the batters were sitting on that fastball, and the batters were making pretty good contact on the first pitches when they swung because they're waiting for that fastball, because he relies on that a lot right now. So does that change when he gets to the majors and has somebody like Stallings or Fortes calling a different game for him? Probably, and I hope so. But so that's something to look out for. But the guy's electric. I mean, you know, the coaches in Pensacola, they were talking to one of them on Sunday's broadcast, and he was like, listen, like I've seen a lot of arms come through here. Sandy, you know, all these guys he was naming off. And he's like, this guy is the most exciting. Like this guy has the potential to be better than Sandy is basically what he was saying. And so, you know, he's the number one pitching prospect right now, probably in Major League Baseball. If not, he's definitely top 3. And so you can't help but be excited about it, you know. And just to kind of plug Pensacola a little bit, if you guys get a chance, like watch some of their games. They have some studs. Like a lot of our talent is in AA right now. You know, his teammate Patrick Monteverde is probably the guy that, like we talked about, I think last week, Callie and I thought he would get the nod. He's having a statistically better season than Yuri. He pitched the win today, so I don't have his updated numbers, but he's 5-0 with a sub-2 ERA with 31 innings pitched and, you know, I think 44 strikeouts or whatever he did today. So, you know, there's a lot of talent there. And so I hope Yuri does well, and maybe, you know, we'll see how long his stay is. But I kind of tend to agree with Callie. I don't think he'll be here for the whole season. He's probably a guy who goes back down, and maybe he's our first choice if somebody else goes down.
I think it also helps that we're facing the Reds, and I have it in front of me. The Reds are third to the bottom of the league with only 27 home runs on the year. They're about middle of the pack average-wise. And then presumably his second start would be against the Nationals, who only have 24 home runs this year. And, you know, we'll have the Reds at home, so much more pitcher-friendly park. I think it's just a match made in heaven for right now.
And to kind of piggyback off of what you just said, they have the second lowest slugging and the third lowest OPS in the National League. So it's I mean, almost the ideal opponent that you would want to kind of debut against, unless you're literally playing against the Marlins, because only other teams that are worse than them offensively are the Marlins. So, you know, that I wasn't expecting that to happen, but whatever. All right, so prediction time. Let's see. Last week, I think the majority of us said 3-3, right? Mm-hmm. 3-3. We thought we'd go into 19-19. No, Brian?
No. I thought we would sweep the Diamondbacks.
Oh,
I thought we'd take 2. I thought we'd come out of here 5-2 or 5-1, whatever it was.
Oh, I said 4-2 also.
Yeah, I was very optimistic.
Was I the only one that said 3-3, like a normal person?
Yeah, possibly. Because I know I said 4-2, but I thought you guys were smart. Just keep swimming. All right, so prediction time. Spaz, since you were the one that was right last week, what are we thinking this upcoming week against the Reds and against the
Nationals?
The Reds and the Nationals.
Nationals. They're both not 500 teams. We are very much a 500 team.
Yes, we are. We're average gets.
Yes. So I think we sweep the Reds and we take 2 out of 3 from the Nationals.
5-1.
5-1. Yes.
I love the confidence, Bats. Brian, what are you thinking?
You know, I think these 2 series are probably pretty pivotal for our season if we want to be playoff players or not.
Time to take that,
I think against these 2 teams, I think we need to step up, and I'm thinking we sweep the Reds and we sweep the Nats.
Nixon. Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's not going to happen, but I think realistically it's probably 5-1. I think we can sweep the Reds. And we'll take 2
still looking good. All right, I'm loving it.
No.
We got 5-1, got 6-0. Callie, go Come on, Callie.
Callie's gonna say 500.
No, I thought I was gonna be the hot take with the 6-0. We're just gonna fucking sweep both of them. But Brandon,
That's what I thought.
do the thing. No, but seriously, I think 4-2 is realistic. I think that's kind of where I'm at. I don't think we sweep any of them just because I don't think we have the pitching depth to sweep both of them. But if we're gonna have back-to-back sweeps, this is it, right? Time to do it because these are two of the worst hitting teams in the league, not called the Miami Marlins. So this is our time to shine. These are teams that are not very good, don't have great pitching. You know, these are teams that are
days off.
Yeah, that was another point I was going to make. A day off before and after the Reds series is absolutely massive, absolutely massive. So, I mean, if we're going to win 6 in a row, this is or sweep 2 in a row, which would make it 8 wins in a row. This is the time of the year. This is the time to do it because then we have a nice little West Coast trip, and you know, again, the rest of the month is pretty favorable for us. If we can really take advantage of these next 2 series, I think we can start getting people nervous.
Let's fucking do it.
I'm gonna ride with 5-1. I can't imagine 2 sweeps. I think that there's a chance that we sweep the Reds. So I'd say sweep the Reds and take 2 out of 3 out from the Nationals. And I'd say 5-1 go into next episode 24-20, which isn't bad. 44 games in, 4 games over 500, feeling pretty good. So that's it. Look, I'm excited. We're staying afloat, like we said. Keep it 500, and let's keep moving.
Just keep swimming, baby.
Let's keep swimming.
Just keep swimming.
Anything else for the people, gentlemen?
As many of you as possible need to show up on Friday.
Yes.
We got to pack that ballpark for Yuri.
Not too much. I don't want to deal with the parking thing. Like, relax, guys.
All right, we'll stay home and watch it on TV. It's a better view anyway.
$10 no blocky, bro. Come on.
There's a lot to be frustrated about, but a lot to be excited about. You know, we're a young team. We got some exciting players. You know, it's a good time to jump on the bandwagon because
for sure
we only go up from here, or we implode destructively. But you know,
we don't talk about that.
No, Spaz.
Oh man, what Brandon said. Let's go out and show support to our new guy, our young guy, and I'm gonna be there on Friday. So let's all
3/4 of the podcast will be there on Friday. Apparently,
absolutely. Let's go and show support and show love, and let's be loud for the boy, man. It's gonna be great.
I said it's going to be an awesome time on Friday. Hopefully we come back and have a good week, right? Because 5-1, 6-0, all these predictions sounds like a great week to me. So let's make it happen. Hopefully we get Coop back, and like we all said, and will be the motto: just keep swimming. Catch you guys next week.